without having to go too crazy on tracking, you get really good insight on which segments are driving your deals, right? Where am I getting my best deals, the most deals, the highest spread deals, and then where am I getting the most from? I'm moving over to that exact idea, smaller group, more targeted prospects to focus on rather than broad marketing. Yeah, guys, it's going to work better for you. And the thing is too, is like, you can still cover what you're covering in the broad, but instead of trying to do one big campaign of 10,000, you do 10 campaigns of 1,000 of smaller segments. And now you get think about when you do it this way, without having to go too crazy on tracking, you get really good insight on which segments are driving your deals, right? Where am I getting my best deals, the most deals, the highest spread deals, and then where am I getting the most from? And what you might find out is, you've got the rental, you've got sub segments and all this stuff. So don't go crazy breaking it all up. You essentially got owner op and absentee owned, and then inside of there's some sub segments. So as you do these campaigns, you can say, okay, let me look at tired COVID landlords. That's one of our lists, but the idea is give me the landlords that bought right before COVID hit, with the thinking that they had a lot of distress they went through in their first couple of years of owning that property. That's a lot. So that's a lot of good potential at the baseline. So stuff like that. This is pulling into. So again, Gordon, like that one I just talked about is one of them, 1,000 or less. I would just narrow it down by years owned. So look at your okay, guys, start at the easiest 1,000, the highest probability 1,000, and then add in your other layers and go from there, right? So right now, I'd say probably the easiest 1,000, depending on your market and what's the easiest to move. I like that tired COVID landlord list. So you're looking at what is it? Anybody who bought in 18, 19, that's an absentee own. And inside of there, if that set's too big for your area, you can say, okay, just give me the ones that live in California. Depending on where, what the market is, the far off investors that are way away. Thinking there again is that they're definitely using property management, right? So you guys, some of you here have owned rental properties before. Some of you haven't. I've owned a lot of them and moved a lot of them. And every time you're holding them, there's just always these risk factors that are going on, right? So imagine if one of the risk factors that's always there is property managers. They're very tough to deal with. They do not have an easy job. It's terrible, that whole setup, right? But you have to deal with them if you own rental properties. Well, what happens if your property manager is calling you every month or sending you a statement every month during COVID? It's tenant didn't pay again this month. Tenant didn't pay again this month. And we can't evict them. We just got to leave them in there. That's a very terrible situation for an investor. So I like that list a lot. I like the hidden equity stuff, right? So instead of using the equity filter, we talked about this a couple of weeks. Give me the people that, again, paint the picture of what's the perfect scenario in your head. Give me somebody who's owned the house for 20 years, who's never refinanced it. Still the original mortgage, or maybe they refinanced in the first couple of years, but by not refinance, by showing me that you haven't refinanced recently, especially with all the stuff we've gone through with the bank rates and all that, you likely haven't done improvements on the house. That's how I'm getting that data set to come to that person. So that's when you can tighten up pretty heavy as well.